Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Welcome all of you again back to the second part of the lecture on mediators of inflammation. Okay. Now, I request all of you to again mark your attendance for this second part of lecture in the chat box and remain with me till the end of the lecture. Now, these chemical mediators, which we read about in the previous session, as we know, these are cell-derived mediators and the plasma-derived mediators. These plasma-derived mediators now include the component of the complement system and the coagulation and the kinin systems. Now, these are the plasma-derived mediators. These are the plasma-derived mediators. This is the complement system. This is the kinin system. And this is the clotting system and the fibrinolytic system. Fibrinolytic system means that system which breaks the clot so that homeostasis is maintained in the body. No excess clot gets there in the body and the balance is maintained. Now this complement system, what is this? This is a killing system. It is a killing system. It kills the microbes. It also has its effect on the blood vessels, and it is a chemotactic system. Yani it is responsible for attracting the neutrophils, leukocytes, all that. Then the kinin system. Kinin system is responsible for pain. It is a highly vasoactive system, has its effect on the blood vessels. Then the clotting and the fibrinolytic system. You know what is clotting? Clotting is, all of you know what is clotting, clotting of blood. And the fibrinolytic system is breaking of that clot so that a balance is maintained. No excess clotting and no excess less clotting. So these are again, they have their action on blood vessels and they cleave the C3 component of the complement. Now, circulating proteins of three interrelated systems, which we saw, complement, kinin, coagulation system. Now, this complement system, which is a killing system, this comprises of about 20 plasma proteases. It is present, they are present as inactive. Proteases means which breaks the protein. Okay. Now, it comprises of more than 20 plasma proteases, and they are present as inactive proteases. Initially, they are present as inactive form, and they are numbered from C1 to C9 and so on. And activation of one leads to activation of all of the components. So it is a cascade. It's like a chain reaction. If one is activated, all of these are activated. Then they are activated by three pathways, three different pathways, like the classical pathway, alternate pathway, and the lectin pathway. Now, this complement system, it is activated by classical, alternate, and the lectin pathway. Now, this is the complement system. As we know, there is this complement system, what happens in this complement system, there is activation of C3 to C, there is activation of this C3. So this C3b, so and C3a. Now, as we know, this is the alternate pathway of activation of complement. This is the classical pathway of activation of complement, and this is the mannose lectin pathway of activation of the complement. Now, this is started by bacterial level, bacteria. This started by antigen antibody complex. This is started by mannose on the surface of microbial surface. So all these pathways, they ultimately lead to the activation of this C3. You can remember this chart at the end of the lecture. You can remember it. Now this C3, this is this changes to C3A, which is an anaphylotoxin, which is responsible for anaphylaxis, and then this C3 changes to C3B, and this forms C3B, BB, 3B. This we call as C3, C5 convertase, which then activates the C5 to C5B. Then in presence of C6, C7, C8, C9, it forms a membrane attack complex, which then destroys the infected cell. So these are the pathways, and this is the complement system as a whole. Now the biological functions of the complement system. Complement derived factors mediate a variety of phenomena in acute inflammation. As we know, what they are vasoactive, they have vascular phenomena, they act on the vascular phenomena. And why we call them this anaphylotoxin C3A, we call it as anaphylotoxin because it has action similar to the those subs like histamine, which is involved in the anaphylaxis. Then C5A activates the lipoxygenase pathway of the arachidonic acid metabolite, causing further release of inflammatory mediators. Then leukocyte additions, chemotaxis, and activation. It is also a property of the C5A. It is also responsible for WBC addition, chemotaxis, and activation. Then C3B and inactive C3B, it is responsible for phagocytosis. So this is the function, main broad function. C3 and C5 are most important inflammatory mediators of the complement. Yes, we know it because they form convertases. C3 and C5 can be activated by proteolytic enzymes present within the inflammatory exudate. This all is given in that chart, how this activates, and major that you want to remember, should remember, is that given in that chart we saw. Summary of functions of the complement system in inflammation. C3A and anaphylotoxin. Anaphylotoxin, it causing mast cell degranulation. See, the C3A, it acts on the mast cell and releases the histamine. C5A, it is also an anaphylotoxin, acts on the mast cells causing degranulation, and also chemotactic for neutrophils and macrophages. That means it also attracts the neutrophils and the macrophages where there are bacteria or where they are needed, and it also activates the phospholipase. C3A and C5A, they cause increased vascular permeability and vasodilation. So they also cause vasodilation. How they cause vasodilation? By release of histamine from the mast cells. And as we know, histamine has a property of vasodilatation and increasing vascular permeability, causing edema. So they also act by histamine. Then C3B is an opsonate. for opsonin means it opsonin means it helps the neutrophils and macrophages to for eating bacteria and for phagocytosis. Then C5 to 9, C5, C6, C7, this complex, this is responsible for lysis of the damaged cell or the infected cell. Then the plasma protein. Plasma proteins include such as the kinin system and the fibrinolytic system. The kinin system. The kinin system are biologically active polypeptides, again polypeptides, and the key triggering agent is kinin production, factor 12A. Now this is the kinin system, factor 12A changes prekallikrein to kallikrein, and this kallikrein then changes high molecular weight creatine to bradykinin. This is the kinin system. Similarly, this kallikrein also acts upon the fibrinolytic system and changes plasminogen to plasmin. You remember this and slowly you will understand, inshallah. Here we see neutrophils. When these neutrophils they are activated, they release the kallikrein, and this kallikrein changes kininogens to kinins, and these kinins they are responsible for pain. They act for as chemotaxis, stimulate complement system, promote localized vasodilation. Now bradykinin, as we saw previously, bradykinin, one of this component of this kinin system, it is short-lived and it causes pain, it causes increased permeability, it causes blood vessel dilation, and it causes bronchoconstriction. Similarly, it causes activation of other systems such as the complement system, the fibrinolytic system, and the eicosanoids like the prostaglandins, all those, and it is inactivated by the kinases. Then the coagulation system. We know coagulation system is responsible for stopping the bleeding. Whenever there is bleeding, coagulation system stops. Now it has again two pathways, the intrinsic pathway and the extrinsic pathway. Now, what is the end result? It leads to the formation of fibrin. It will be clear when we see the diagram. Now, this is the intrinsic pathway and this is the extrinsic pathway of for coagulation system. What happens at the end is we want a clot, and this clot is formed of fibrin. This is the stable fibrin clot. It is formed from fibrinogen to fibrin to stable fibrin clot. Now, how this clot is formed? It can be formed through the intrinsic mechanism of the coagulation system or the extrinsic mechanism of the coagulation system. This extrinsic is the shorter one. It is started by the tissue damage leading to factor 7A activation, which starts the 10 to 10A activation. 10A changes prothrombin to thrombin. Thrombin changes to fibrinogen to fibrin, then this to this, ultimately fibrin clot. Similarly, intrinsic mechanism, it starts with the Hageman factor. Hageman factor, here it is, factor 12 factor gets activated to 12A, then 12A changes factor 11 to 11A, 11A changes 9 to 9A, 9A changes again 10 to 10A, then this is the common pathway. 10A changes prothrombin to thrombin, and thrombin changes this. and ultimately again the result is stable fibrin clot. So this is the coagulation system. Now, activated Hageman factor. Hageman factor is factor 12A. So what is this? It initiates four systems involved in the inflammatory response. As we saw, clotting system, intrinsic mechanism, it is activated. Then it also activates the complement system. It activates the kinin system. It activates the fibrinolytic system. This is a key factor. Factor 12, the Hageman factor. So this factor is involved in, first of all, coagulation system, we saw it. It also responsible for activation of kallikrein, the kinin generation. It also activation of the plasmin changes plasminogen to plasmin, and which is this plasmin is responsible for fibrinolysis. It breaks the fibrin to fibrin degradation products and complement activation. Now these are the systems, four systems, and this is the Hageman factor. This is the Hageman factor or the factor 12. When it gets activated, factor 12A, it starts the clotting cascade, which activates the thrombin and ultimately fibrinogen changes to fibrin. Similarly, this factor 12A changes prekallikrein to kallikrein. And this kallikrein is involved in kinin system. And it leads to the formation of bradykinin, which is one of the most important kinin systems. Similarly, this kallikrein also starts the fibrinolytic system, which breaks the plasminogen to plasmin, and this plasmin breaks the fibrin to fibrin split products. Yani this is anticoagulation system. This is the coagulation system, this is the anticoagulation system, and this fibrin then changes to fibrin split products. Then this plasmin that is formed by the fibrinolytic system, it also has one property, it activates the C3 to C3A and starts the complement cascade. It starts the complement system. Similarly, this kallikrein, it starts C5 to C5. Now this picture out of the whole is very important, so I read it one by one. Why it is important? Because it involves all the system, the kinin system, clotting system, complements cascade, and the fibrinolytic system. Read it again and again, and remember this. If you remember this, you will remember the interplay of all these systems. The coagulation cascade has several functions during inflammation. Now, why is there this coagulation system? First of all, it stops the hemorrhage. If there is bleeding, it stops the hemorrhage. Then the factor 12 can activate the kinin and the fibrinolytic system. Yes, we know from the picture, this is the factor 12. It starts the clotting factor, it starts the this kinin system, it starts the coagulation system. Thrombin can activate the complement cascade. Similarly, this thrombin can also start the complement cascade by this. Similarly, fibrin peptides are chemotactic for leukocytes and increase vascular permeability. and extravascular fibrin may limit the spread of infective agent. Now this is the factor 12A. It changes, this is the intrinsic mechanism. Intrinsic mechanism 12 changes the 11 to 11A, 11A then changes 9 to 9A, 9 changes to 10 to 10A. This is shortened here. And ultimately there is formation of this thrombin, and this thrombin then changes the fibrinogen to fibrin, and fibrin to fibrin, and a clot is formed, and this fibrin is then changed into fibrin split products by plasma. So a balance is maintained between the clotting system and the anti-clotting system that we saw in those picture of 4 systems together. Now this coagulation and inflammation, they are tightly linked. Coagulation system and inflammation. Acute inflammation can can be activated or damage the endothelium and trigger coagulation and induce this. Conversely, coagulation system induces inflammation. Now, whenever there is inflammation, what happens? There is damage to the endothelial lining. When there is damage to the endothelial lining, coagulation starts at that point by platelet aggregation. So that is why he is saying like this. Similarly, if there is coagulation, what happens? There is automatically start of the inflammatory process by various triggering factors. For example, this is factor 12, this is another picture, interrelationship between the 4 plasma mediator systems. This is the factor 12 or the Hageman factor, the key factor. It starts the clotting system, it starts the kinin system. Here, thrombin is formed, which forms fibrinogen to fibrin, and a clot is formed. And from here, from fibrinolytic system, plasmin is formed, and this plasmin breaks fibrin to fibrin split products. So this is the clotting system, this is the fibrinolytic system or the anti-clotting system. Now this plasmin that is formed by the fibrinolytic system, this plasmin, it starts the complement cascade. It starts the complement cascade like C3, C3A, all this. And we know that C3A, how C3A, it activates this neutrophils and the mast cells to release the inflammatory mediators such as histamine. So they are all interrelated. Similarly, this is the kinin system as discussed before, leading to formation of bradykinin. Now, role of mediators in different reactions of the inflammation. Now, this is a majmua, this is a summary of the mediators. What are the actions that are caused? You remember, all of you pay attention to this and remember this. This slide is very important. Such as pain is produced because it can be as questions. These can be questions. For example, pain is produced by bradykinin and PGE2. Vasodilatation by nitric oxide and prostaglandins E2, D2, F2 alpha, I2. Also, pharmacology rests on these principles. If you have to stop a pain, you have to stop the production of these things. Okay. Similarly, vasodilation, if you have to stop the production of these things. Okay, increased vascular permeability by histamine, serotonin, bradykinin, C3A, C5A through how? By liberating amines like histamine from the mast cells, leukotrienes, platelet activating factor, oxygen-free radicals. They increase the vascular permeability. Then fever is caused by interleukin-1, tissue necrotic factor, interleukin-6, PGE2. This can be a question, for example, which one of the following is responsible for fever? There can be various options, then there can be like this option. So try to remember these. What are the substances that can cause fever in a patient of acute inflammation or infection? So these are the substances. What are the substances? What are the mediators that can cause pain? These are the answer. Similarly, what are the substances responsible for chemotaxis? These are the C5a, interleukin 8, bacterial products, leukotriene B4. So, and similarly, tissue damage. What are the substances that cause tissue damage in case of inflammation? The answer can be nitric oxide, oxygen-derived free radicals, neutrophils, and macrophage lysosomal enzymes. Now, this is again the summary of mediators. Summary of the mediators. These are the mediators: histamine, bradykinin, C3, C5, prostaglandins, leukotrienes, platelet activating factor, chemokines. Where these are produced from. You need to remember this after a lecture. Revise this again and again, 3-4 times. It will be very good for you for your exams. If you remember this, you can. It will be helpful for MCQs. It will be also helpful for your SCQs. All that. Okay, and in case, of course, in case of MEQ, so which are involved where. So these you should remember, very important. Now this. Now what is the initiating agent for inflammation? It can be trauma, it can be infection, it can be necrosis, foreign body, neoplasms. So all these are the triggering factor for inflammation. So what they do is that there is production of mediators. So now this inflammation can be acute inflammation, it can be chronic inflammation. All of we know that acute inflammation is caused by neutrophils and platelets, they act acutely, and chronic inflammation by mostly by lymphocytes and macrophages. Then there are the vasoactive. These mediators, what they cause various types of actions, like the vasoactive action. They cause the chemotactic action, which we this is just the revision which we study. Chemical mediators with, now these are the mediators with vasoactive effect, also given previously in the table. Chemical mediators with chemotactic effect, given in the table, and some mediators with both vasoactive and chemotactic effect. So this is, I request all of you to kindly stay till I save your attendance.
Can we leave now, Doctor?
Wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm taking your attendance. I'm saving your attendance. Wait. Okay, my dear. Thank you, all of you. You can
Thank
leave.
you.
Thank you.